Hello, my name is Kristen A. Strode, and for my media parenting profile presentation, I conducted an interview with my Gen X cousin who was born in 1975, who has two kids, one being an 18-year-old adult now, and the other one being an 11-year-old boy, in which we discussed this interview about, and I'll be discussing some of the comparisons between the parent and the child and how they grew up and navigated technology and technological advances and things of that sort. All right, so as for permitted technology and sort of the differences between the two and how they grew up, to start off, the 11-year-old boy, of course, is still very young, so she does have pretty tight restrictions on the sort of technology that he's allowed to use and the rules around um, how he uses technology, which we'll get into a little bit later. But as for permitted technology devices, he has regular access to a Nintendo Switch, a television, which he also has one in his bedroom, and he also has regular access to his mom's laptop that she lets him use from time to time to do things such as, playing games and homework and stuff like that. And then as for the parent herself, obviously growing up, she didn't have as many options to technology. So some of the permitted technology devices that she used growing up was she had an Atari and a Game Boy. She also had a television in her bedroom and regular access to that, as well as a computer for the household.
As for rules and restrictions against technology and media usage, again, he's 11 years old and he's very young, so she does not feel that he really needs a cell phone, and she thinks he's a little too young. She doesn't really feel comfortable with him having one at this young of an age. With that being said, that also means that he does not have any access to any social media sites or anything like that. So the closest thing that he has to communicating with the outside world would be through the game Roblox, and that's also closely monitored, and they have conversations about that, such as the boundaries and expectations that she has around how he uses it. Also, she thinks that he should spend less time dependent on social media, or not social media, but technology usage for entertainment and things of the sort. Growing up, she did not necessarily have a cell phone until she was in her late teens, but of course it was for different reasons, because she, didn't really exist back then until she was around that age. And so she spent a lot of her time doing extracurricular activities. She always kind of had friends, and sort of kind of what I was thinking when we talked about this was a little bit of the displacement and Goldilocks theory. So the displacement theory kind of connects with this because she believes that it kind of using too much technology can hinder you in a lot of ways, and can again displace where you put your time and energy in, and it can keep you from being productive and doing things that are beneficial. And so that's how she was kind of raised on that. And so that's a similar approach that she takes with him. This also, something else that kind of came to mind was Goldilocks theory, again, being that there needs to be a perfect balance between, using technology for entertainment versus doing other things as well, in the mix, so you're not too dependent on it. Moving on to sort of the fears and benefits of using technology and media in general. Some of the fears that she stated that she has is that the internet can be a dangerous place to navigate as a child, and she believes that children can be sort of easily influenced and things like that. So something that came to mind with this specifically was, again, the two viewpoints of how some people think that, kids are vulnerable and they're naive and they should not be navigating the internet on their own, versus, that they're tech savvy and they are media literate and know what they're doing and should use that to explore their sort of creativities. So I would say that based off of what we talked about, she kind of has a view that combines both of these a little bit, but I'd say she's more so on the side that kids are vulnerable and sort of need protection. So She believes that he will remain sheltered until he's into his like early teen years. And some of the benefits that she discussed having, the benefits of technology and media usage is that again it can be used to be creative, for as a creative outlet and for social development as well, because you're able to interact with other people or interact with people as well, outside of face-to-face interactions. And then some of the challenges that she discussed having, with technology and media being so heavily normalized, especially in this era where we're so technologically advanced, is that she, for one, feels as though she's not as tech savvy as she could be, and she kind of feels as though she needs to ask her kids to show her how to navigate the internet a lot of the times. Another sort of challenge that she said she has is that there's a lot less peer connection because so many other kids are so reliant on technology and media sources and outlets to interact and just be entertained. Well, a lot of parents aren't as strict as she is when it comes to being sheltered by the internet. And so it can be really difficult when a lot of the kids that are his age, they want to interact with him on the internet, but, he does have those restrictions. And it's very different in comparison to when she was growing up, when that wasn't really a thing. And you kind of had to go outside to interact with people and meet new people and just have normal sort of child and adolescent experiences. Something else that we touched on in the interview was sort of a COVID-19 perspective on all of this. So first of all, she kind of talked about how it can be kind of hard to navigate not really needing to rely on digital technology and media usage, is because now in schools it's becoming the standard to be using technology, and that kind of pushes this sort of like habit of overusing it at times because you just get so used to being reliant on it for other things. And so to add on to that, going back to how other kids are so heavily reliant on using technology so frequently, there just sort of has to be like a middle ground that he needs to be able to be entertained without being overly dependent on entertainment. So again, that kind of ties back to the Goldilocks theory again, sort of having that middle ground, and how COVID-19 kind of exasperated a lot of the effects that media and usage has on kids today. And again, by that I just mean sort of the over-reliance on it and, technology, things like that. All right, so that pretty much concludes everything that I discussed in the interview. I would say that I definitely would agree with a lot of the viewpoints and sort of approaches that she has to monitoring and making sure that her child is, safe on the internet. Other than that, there's not much else to really say, and that's pretty much the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.